Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our virtual Tirshu Mishnah Berurah share. We're holding today Mishnah Berurah Chelik Hey. We're continuing Hilchos Pesach. We've been discussing the halachos of Sfiras HaOmer, and today we're actually going to be doing Kuf Amid Aleph, but we're starting on Tzadik Tes Amid Beis. We're in Siman Tov Tzadik Gimel, and we are in middle of Sif Gimel. So we had left off last week discussing the two different zmanim where we keep a certain amount of avelus during Sfiras HaOmer. And we went through the Berurah halacha over here, and we basically explained the two different zmanim as follows. We have people who keep the first zman, and that is that they're noyeg iser from the beginning of Sfira through either Lamed Gimel or Lamed Laled Ba'omer. According to the Mechaber, they keep Avelus until the morning of Lamed Daled. According to the Ramah, until the morning of Lamed Gimel. That's what we would call the first Zman. Then there's the second Zman, and those who keep the second Zman, they're Noig Heter from the beginning of Sfira until and including the 2 days of Rosh Chodesh Iyar. And then from Beis Iyar all the way until Shavuos, they're Noig Iser, with the exception of Lag Ba'omer. On Lag Ba'omer itself, they're Noig Heter. So over there we have two Zmanim. Now we're going to pick up with the words of the Ramah in Sif Gimel, where the Ramah is going to make reference to one of these Zmanim. And then in the Mishnah Berurah, we're going to see what I guess I would call a third Zman. Let's take a look at the words of the Ramah. By me, it's on the last word of the third line down on Tzadik Tes Amid Beis. The Ramah says, Hagah, Miu Baharbe Mekaymais, in many places, Naihagim Lehistaper Ad Rosh Chodesh Iyar, they have the minig to take haircuts, so they're Noig Heter, as far as the various Isurim of Sfiras HaOmer, through the 2 days of Rosh Chodesh Iyar. That means including the 2 days of Rosh Chodesh Iyar, they would take haircuts on the 2 days of Rosh Chodesh Iyar as well. Now, people who have that minig, people who keep what I'll call the second Zman, so they're Noig Heter all the way through the 2 days of Rosh Chodesh Iyar. Now, in order for them to have 33 days of Isser, they keep the Isurim from Beis Iyar straight through until Shavuos. Although they are makel on Lag Ba'omer itself, and they're knowing that you could take haircuts on Lag Ba'omer itself. And in those locales, in those locales where they keep the first Zman, and the minig is that they could take haircuts from Lamed Gimel Ba'omer and on, then you can't take any haircuts or keep or be matir any of the other things that are usher during Sfira from after Pesach until Lag Ba'omer. That means that you can't be matir Rosh Chodesh. You need 33 days. In order to have 33 days of Isser, you're going to have to keep Isser all the way from the beginning of Sfira through Lag Ba'omer. So you can't be matir Rosh Chodesh. And finally, the Ramah says, in one city, the Ramah says, really, everybody should keep one minig. We don't want to create different groups. We don't want it to look like Chas v'Chalila. There's more than one Torah. We want to know that everybody's keeping the same halachas. And certainly, you can't be noig both kulas. Now let's take a look in the words of the Mishnah Berurah. Let's go to Mishnah Berurah, Ois Katan Tes Vav. Those who are keeping what we would call the second Zman, those who are Noig Heter through the 2 days of Rosh Chodesh Iyar, and they start the Isurim of Sfiras HaOmer only on Beis Iyar, so they can't take haircuts after Lag Ba'omer. They have to be Noig Iser after Lag Ba'omer. Says the Chavetz Chaim, Ritzayna Loimar, what the Ramah wants to say over here is, Ad Shavuos Mamish V'Chanal. They have to keep the Yisurim all the way through till Shavuos. Now, the Chavetz Chaim says here, V'hinei b'medina seinu, in our regions, Haminig, the custom is, Lisa, to make chasanas, ulehistaper, and to take haircuts, b'shloishes yemei hagbala, during the Shloshis Yimei Hagbala, the 3 days before Shavuos. So that's Erev Shavuos and the 2 days previous. Okay. So now if you're going to be noeg heter during the Shloshis Yimei Hagbala, so that means you're losing 2 days from the 33 days, right? According to the people who keep the second Zman, if they're starting to keep the Isurim on Beis Iyar, they really have to go all the way through till Shavuos in order to have 33 days. But now they're being noeg heter during the Shloshis Yimei Hagbala. Al-Kain Masik HaMagen Avram. Therefore, the Magen Avram concludes that Tzarech Li Zahir, that people who keep this second Zman have to take care. Shaloi Lisa Ulehistaper Bahashnei Yomim Shal Rosh Chodesh Iyar. So if you're going to keep the second Zman, and yet you're going to be noeg heter during the Shloshis Yimei Hagbala, how are you going to get 33 days? So instead of being noeg heter on the 2 days of Rosh Chodesh Iyar, you'll have to be noeg iser on the 2 days of Rosh Chodesh Iyar. V'gam b'rishon shel Yimei Hagbala b'boker, and also as far as the first of the Shloshis Yimei Hagbala, you'll have to be noeg iser by the night going into the first day of the Shloshis Yimei Hagbala, and v'gam b'rishon shel Yimei Hagbala b'boker dafka. You'll only be able to be noeg heter in the starting the morning of the first day of Shloshis Yimei Hagbala, Darmrina Miktas Hayom Kekulai, so that we can say Miktas Hayom Kekulai. So again, what he's doing is like this. He's saying you subtracted from the 33 days the Shloshis Yimei Hagbala. How are you going to make up those 3 days? So the way you'll make them up is you'll be noeg iser on the 2 days of Rosh Chodesh Iyar, and you'll also be noeg iser for part of the day of the first of the Shloshis Yimei Hagbala. Excuse me. So that will say Miktas Hayom Kekulai, and you'll pick up a third day of Isser, and you'll have 33 days. And now we'll have a total of 33 days when we are noeg avelus during the Sfiras HaOmer. The Kasav HaChayadam, the Chayadam writes, Shekain HaMinug Gamkein B'Kehilas Kodesh Vilna, that this was the minig in Vilna, Shenayhagim Isser Miyam Rishon the Rosh Chodesh Isser. So here we're getting what the Bir Halacha was referring to last week. The Bir Halacha mentioned 3 Zmanim. Now, so far, we really only mentioned 2 Zmanim, right? We mentioned 1 Zman that you're noeg avelus from the beginning of Sfiras HaOmer through either the morning of Lamed Gimel or Lamed Daled, depending on the Mechaber or the Ramah. And then we have over here what we just had, the second Zman, which is either that you're noeg iser from Beis Iyar straight through until Shavuos, or you're noeg iser from the first day of Rosh Chodesh Iyar through the morning of Shloshis Yimei Hagbala. That would be the second Zman. And now we're going to have an interesting third Zman. The Kasav HaChayadam writes, Shekena minig gamkein b'Kehilas Kodesh Vilna, that the following was the minig in the Kila Kadosha of Vilna, Shenayhagim Isser, where they were accustomed to keeping the Isurim of Avelus, Miyom Rishon de Rosh Chodesh Iyar, from the first day of Rosh Chodesh Iyar, Ad Gimel Sivan Baboker, until Gimel Sivan, the first day of Shloshis Yimei Hagbala, Baboker in the morning, Melavad Balamed Gimel Ba'omer Noeg by Heter. So I'm sorry, this is not the third Zman. This is what we just described as the second Zman, but we're being noeg iser on the 2 days of Rosh Chodesh, and we're being noeg heter on Lag B'omer itself. Here comes the third Zman now. The Yesh Mekaimos, there are places, and he brings this down from the Derech HaChaim, Shenoyagin Lahakel Rak B'Rosh Chodesh Iyar. There are places that were makel on the 2 days of Rosh Chodesh Iyar, U'Balag Ba'omer, and on Lag Ba'omer, and here comes the interesting part, U'B'Rosh Chodesh Sivan Ad Shavuos, and then there were also noeg heter from Rosh Chodesh Sivan until Shavuos. So let's get this straight. In these locales, what they did was like this. They kept Isser from after Pesach until the first day of Rosh Chodesh Iyar. The 2 days of Rosh Chodesh Iyar, there were noeg heter. Then there were noeg Isser again until Lag Ba'omer. On Lag Ba'omer, there were noeg heter. Then from Lamed Daled Ba'omer until Rosh Chodesh Sivan, there were noeg Isser. And then from Rosh Chodesh Sivan until Shavuos, they were noig heter. And if you look in the Sharet Tzia, nice cotton Yud Gimel, he says over here, Ken mashma midarech hachayim. We could see this minig in the derech hachayim. Ach shelo yeda beberer ma'ayin motza minig hazel lahakel b'yom beis shel Rosh Chodesh Sivan. He says he doesn't know where this came from. Where does this come? That you could suddenly now be noig heter from Rosh Chodesh Sivan and on. But if you look at Yigros Moshe in Arachayim Aleph, in Siman Kuf Nun Tes, the Rishur Zatzal explains the basis for this minig. And what he says like this, he says that in essence, they're not doing much different than what the Biur Halacha described the people who keep the second Zman do. If you remember, the Biur Halacha said, what's the makar for the second Zman? The makar for the second Zman is that we know that the Talmidim of Rabbi Akiva died for 33 days, and the Chavetz Chaim said they died on the 33 days during which we say Tachdun. They didn't die on any of the days of Simcha, on the days that we do not say Tachdun. And Keneged those 33 days, we chose 33 days to keep Avelus, even though the 33 days that we keep Avelus are not necessarily the 33 days that the Talmidei Rabbi Akiva died. Says Rav Moshe, this minig of Kehillas HaKodesh Vilna is based on the same premise. We need to keep 33 days of Avelus. So they found a different 33 days of Avelus to keep. What they do is, after Pesach, we know that the day after Pesach is Isru Chag. Isru Chag is a little bit of a Yom Tov. So they didn't want to be Noeg Avelus on Isru Chag. So they started being Noeg Avelus on the day after Isru Chag of Pesach. And they would Noeg Avelus until the first day of Rosh Chodesh. Iyar. That gives you 6 days. So that's 6 days of Isser. The 2 days of Rosh Chodesh, they were Noeg Heter. Then they were Noeg Isser again from Beis Iyar through Lamed Beis Ba'omer. That gives you 16 days. So 6 plus 16 is 22. Then from Lamed Daled Ba'omer until and not including Rosh Chodesh Sivan is another 11 days. So that gives you 33 days. And then after Rosh Chodesh Sivan until Shavuos, they were Noeg Heter. Now we continue in the words of the Mishnah Berurah on the bottom line. The Mishnah Berurah completes Eis Katan Tezvav, and he writes, U'be'inyanim elu, when it comes to this topic of the different minhagim of Sfira, Yitvais kal echad kefi minig mekaymai. Each person should do the minig hamakam, the minig of the locale in which he lives. Okay. Then the Ramah said that in one city, you lechatchila should not have people, some people doing one minig and some people doing another minig. Says the Chavetz Chaim, nice cut to Zion, miktzas minig zer, it's like the loymar. What the Ramah wants to say over here is, miktzas b'nei adam yinagu kach, miktzas yinagu kach. We really don't want that some of the people in one locale are being noig one way and some people in one locale are being noig another way. Eis cut Yud Zion, heter b'shtehen. Certainly you cannot be noig the kula of each minig. Explains the Chavetz Chaim, you can't go ahead and say, I'm going to keep the second Zman. So now I'm going to be noig heter until Rosh Chodesh. And then I'm going to go ahead and say, now I'm keeping the first Zman. So after Lag Ba'omer, everything is mutter. Because now you're taking on the kulas of the first Zman, the kulas of the second Zman, and they distinctly contradict each other because now you don't have 33 days no matter what. Aval, however, you can keep the chumras of both Zmanim. If you want to keep the Yisurim of Sfira straight through from Pesach until Erev Shavuos, or at least until the first day of the Shleishes Yemei Hagbala, chutz miLag Ba'omer, with the exception of Lag Ba'omer, even though you are taking on the chumras of both Zmanim, so you're keeping more days than necessary, we don't give this person the halacha of iksil, a fool, who's walking in the dark. That's what we normally say when somebody takes on either the chumras or the kulus of two different minhagim that contradict each other. We call them ksila halach b'cheshech. But over here, if you take on the chumras of both zmanim, we're not going to call you ksila halach b'cheshech. Why? Because the reason he's doing it is not because he's undertaking two shittas and being contradictory. What he's doing is he's saying, I don't know which one is really right. I don't know the minig, which shitta should the minig really follow. We have two different shittas over here, and we don't know which one is really right. And therefore, I'll keep the chorus of both. But nevertheless, you don't have to do this. You could keep either one. You don't have to worry that the minig that you pick, maybe that's not the minig hamakom, and we know that the Ramah said you should do the minig hamakom. They came into a rak minig ba'alma. Since we're dealing with something over here that's only a minig, ein lahachmir b'sveika. We don't have to be machmir on a suffix of the minig. Avalim yadu aloi minig hamakom. But if you do know that there is a consistent minig hamakom, ein loy l'shanois bein lahakel bein lahachmir. You should not do different than the minig hamakom. If you can discern a distinct minig hamakom, then you should do the minig hamakom, and you shouldn't be more machmer than the minig hamakom, and you shouldn't be more mekel than the minig hamakom. Okay. Now we go to Kuf Amud Aleph, the Siv Dalet, where there's an interesting minig brought down over here that I dare say most people have not heard of. Says the Mechaber, Nagu Hanoshim, the women are accustomed Shaloi Lasos Melacha Mi Pesach Va'ad Atzeres Mishkia Sachama Ve'elach, that the women did not do melacha during the Yemei Asvira between Pesach and Shavuos from Shkia, from sunset, Ve'elach, and on. What is the reason for this? Well, we're going to see two reasons brought down in the Mishnah Berurah, but there's a very interesting reason that's brought down by the Moru Ketzia, and it's based on a Ramban in Chumash. It's based on a Ramban in Parshas Emor, in the Parsha of the Mayadim that we lay on Pesach. If you want to see it, it's Vayikra Perek Chav Gimel Pasuk Lamed Vav. There's a very, very interesting Ramban. The Ramban says that we know on Pesach we have the first day of Yom Tov, and then we have Chol HaMoed, and then we have the last day. We have Shvi Shel Pesach. That's again a Moed. It's again a Yom Tov. So we have Yom Tov on both ends, and we have Chol HaMoed in the middle. We know that Sukkot is very similar. Sukkot, we have the first days of Yom Tov, and then we have Chol HaMoed, and then we have a new Yom Tov. After Chol HaMoed, we have Shmini Atzeres. So again, you have 2 days of Yom Tov that wrap around the Chol HaMoed. The Ramban says, Al Pi Kabbalah, that really from Pesach to Shavuos we have the same thing. Really, Pesach is considered the beginning of Yom Tov. The Yemei Asvira are considered Chol HaMoed, and Shavuos is considered the back end of the Yom Tov. So it's sort of like Pesach are the first days, Svira is Chol HaMoed, and Shavuos are the second days. And the Ramban says an interesting thing. He says that's why Shavuos is called Atzeres in the Torah, because it's similar to Shmini Atzeres. Shmini Atzeres are the second days of Sukkot. It's the back end after the Chol HaMoed. And he says Shavuos is called Atzeres because it comes after Chol HaMoed. It comes after the Yemei Asvira that are Chol HaMoed. So the Moru Ketzia says that's why there is a certain concept of Isser Malacha. There is a certain concept not to do Malacha during the Yemei Asvira because they have somewhat of a din of Chol HaMoed. Why would it only be the Nashim, according to that? That's an interesting question. Why would it only be Nashim? So let's take a look now at the Mishnah Berurah Ois Katan Yud Ches. HaNashim, Mishnah Berurah says, V'hu adin HaNashim. It's certainly not only Nashim, it's also Anashim. It's also men. And he brings this down in the Shartzia, Ois Katan Tezayin. Even though I think there might be a Toyas over here. This Tezayin is really not going over here. Okay, so let's not do Shartzia and Ois Tezayin. Mishnah Berurah Ois Katan Yud Tes, Mishkia Sachama Ve'elech. The minig was for them not to do malacha beginning with sunset from Shkia and on. Says the Chafetz Chaim, Hatam. The reason for this is shenikbaru achar Shkias Hachama, because the Talmidei Rabbi Akiva, when they died, the Kvura took place after Shkia, because they died at the end of the day. And like the Gemara brings down in Moed Katan, when there was a mace in the ear, people were bottled from malacha. So they were doing kfuris after shkia, so people were bottled from malacha. V'yesh oid tam b'Torah. There's another reasoning, another rationale for this Isser Malacha brought down in the Torah, Lefisha Ozman Sfiras Ha'omer, because we know that the Zman of Sfiras Ha'omer at some level begins with Shkia. We had earlier that B'di'evet, if somebody counted Sfira during Ben Hashmashas, he could be Yaitza. So to a certain extent, the Zman of counting Sfiras Ha'omer begins at Shkia. U'ba'omer ksiv Sheva Shabbosais. What does the pasuk say by Sfiras Ha'omer? It says Sheva Shabbosais Tamimois Tiyana. Now we look at that word Shabbosais and we say that it just refers to weeks. However, says the Chavetz Chaim, Miloshin Shvus. The word Shabbos definitely comes from the Lashon of Shvus. Shabbos carries in Issa Malacha. Dainu Shabbos Mana Svira Yesh Lishpais Bimalacha. So here we see a precedent for the concept that during the Yemei Svira there's an Issa Malacha. Well, Afi Tamzeh, according to this rationale for the Issa Malacha, after we count, there would right away be a heter malacha, because the whole Isser malacha was only based on the fact that we need to count Svira. I saw here in the Dirshu footnote number 34, what kind of Isser malacha are we talking about over here? So they write here in the footnote, V'geder ha-malacha ha-asura, as far as what kind of malacha would be prohibited, Kasav HaKaf HaChaim, the Kaf HaChaim writes, Shadafka malacha gemura va'arucha. We're only talking about a malacha gemura, a real malacha, an arucha, a significant level of malacha. V'chein das again, Shmuel Vosner, Zatzal, shebishul, for instance, cooking, afiyah, baking, nikayon, cleaning, mutter la'asaisam. That would be mutter for the women to do, even those that are accustomed to keeping some level of issa malacha. The Isser over here is a kvius of malacha. Kigain, for example, somebody sits down to write something long. I'm going to sit down now to write a letter. So that's a kvius of malacha. Aikivus, or somebody, I'm going to go now to do laundry for an hour. But somebody wants to write a few words. You want to sign a check. You want to wash a few dishes. That would be mutter. He brings down over here, I didn't have a chance to look at it, he brings down over here in the footnote, why is it? I think most people never even heard of this minute. So what's the reason for the places where they don't keep this minute? He writes over here, he points you to the Divrei Yatziv, which is the Shalut Tshuva Sefer of the Frierdiker Klosterberger Rebbe, Zechat Tzaddik V'Kodesh Levachar. I definitely would like to look it up. I will try to look it up and get back to you. Okay. Now we go to Siman Taf Tzadik Dalet. Seder Tfilas Chag HaShavuos Ubay Gimel Seifim. What is the proper Seder, the proper order of the davening on Shavuos? And here we have 3 Seifim. Says the Mechaber in Sif Aleph. B'yom chamishim l'sfiras ha'omer hu chag Shavuos. On the 50th day, we don't count a 50th day. We only count 49 days. We count 7 complete weeks. But on day 50, after the beginning of Sfiras HaOmer, Hu Chag HaShavuos, then we have the Yom Tov of Shavuos. Let's take a look in the Mishnah Berurah over here in Ois Katan Aleph. B'yom chamishim l'Sfiras HaOmer, on the 50th day, says the Chavetz Chaim, U'ma'acharin lehispalel arvis b'knisa Shavuos b'tzeis ha'kochavim. We don't daven early on Shavuos night. There's no making Yom Tov early. Shavuos night, we make sure not to daven Ma'ariv until after Tzeis HaKochavim. Why? Kedei sheyiyu yemei asvira arba'im v'tisha yom temimos. Because we counted the 49th day of Svira, and now before we go into Shavuos, we need it to be Sheva Shabbosos temimos. We need 7 complete weeks. So the 49th day has to be a complete day before we go into Shavuos. So we have to wait till Tzeis HaKochavim. Is Saba Zayar. It's brought down in the Zayar. Shechasidim harishonim, the Chasidim harishonim, and of course this doesn't mean Chasidim harishonim as in the first people to wear streimlich. It means the Chasidim harishonim, the early Yirei Shamayim, the early pious individuals, the Chasidim who went lifnim mishuras hadin. That's the type of Chasidim we're speaking about here. So Issa b'Zayar, it's brought down in the Zayar, Shechasidim harishonim, the Chasidim harishonim, hayu ne'orim kol halayla. They would stay up the entire night on Shavuos night. V'oiskim b'Torah, and they would sit and they would be oisik b'Torah. Ukfar nagu roiv haloimdim lasos came. And the Chavetz Chaim says that already in his days, most of the Loimdei Torah, those people who sat and learned Torah, already had this minhag to stay up the whole night on Shavuos night. Ve'isa b'Shulchan Aruch Arizal, it's brought down in the Shulchan Aruch of the Ari. You should know, Shekol mi shebalayla lo yashen klal. All of those, anyone who does not sleep at all, Shavuos night, klal ve'ikr, he doesn't sleep at all, not even a little wink, nothing, doesn't sleep. V'haya oisik b'Torah, and he spends the entire night being oisik b'Torah. He sits and learns the whole night. Muvtach loi, he has a haftacha, there is a promise to him, sheyashlim shnasai, that he will live out the year, v'lo yera loi shum nezek, and he will not be harmed. V'atam, and the reason for this, Kasav Magen Avram, the Magen Avram writes, Al pi pshutai, in a pashut way, an easy way to understand this, She Yisrael hayu yishenim kol halayla, the Klal Yisrael, the Dardeya in the Midbar before Kabbalah Satira, the night before Kabbalah Satira, they went to sleep and they slept the whole night. V'hutzrich HaKadosh Baruch Hu l'ha'ir oisam l'Kabbalah Torah, and the Rebbeinu Shalom had to wake them up to come and bring them to Kabbalah Satira. K'de'isa b'Midrash, as it's brought down in the Midrash in Shir Hashirim Rabbah. Lakach, therefore, anu tzrichim l'sakein zeh. We have to be misakin, that misstep. You knew that you're going into Kabbalah Satira. You knew that you're going into a bris with the Rebbeinu Shalom the next day. How is it that you went to sleep and you slept the whole night and the Rebbeinu Shalom had to come wake you up? So, we have to be misakin that flaw in Klal Yisrael. And the way to do that is we stay up the whole night on Shavuos night learning Torah, and we come to Kabbalah Satira wide awake. Those who do stay up the whole night have to take care that they should not make the bracha of al netilas yadayim in the morning, the bracha of al netilas yadayim that we usually make as part of Birchas HaShachar. You should not recite the bracha of al netilas yadayim rak achar she'asa tzrachav kaidam hatfila, until you go to the Beis HaKisei before davening Shachris. Va'az, and when you come out from the Beis HaKisei, so you went to the Beis HaKisei to make your hachanus for tefillah, then when you come out, va'az mevarech al netilas yadayim va'asher yatzar, then when you come out, you could make the bracha of al netilas yadayim, because you have yadayim mitunafos. Your hands are dirtied from cleaning yourself for the Beis HaKisei. So now you could go ahead and now you can make a bracha of al netilas yadayim and asher yatzar. This is really a machlokes that we have all year round on the bracha of al netilas yadayim in the morning. There are those shittas that hold it regularly all year round. You shouldn't make an al netilas yadayim until you have gone to the Beis HaKisei. But for sure, on Shavuos morning, when somebody stayed up the whole night, he could rely on that concept. He could make the al netilas yadayim when he comes out of the Beis HaKisei. Otherwise, why is he making al netilas yadayim? This goes into the whole shiloh of why we wash negavasa. Why do we wash the netilas yadayim in the morning? Is it because we're Bria Chadasha? Is it because we were sleeping and now we're Bria Chadasha and we have to wash the netilas yadayim? Or is it because of hachana for tefillah? But now over here you stayed up the whole night, so you're not a Bria Chadasha. How are you a Bria Chadasha? So how are you washing the netilas yadayim? To just rely on the Rishonim that you make a bracha on the netilas yadayim because you washed as far as hachana l'tefillah, that's only if you had yadayim and tunafais. So if you go to the Beis HaKisei, now you have yadayim and tunafais, now you're washing to as a hachana for tefillah, now you can make an al netilas yadayim. Oleinian bracha al talis katan. How about making a bracha on tzitzits? This is especially negeah for a yeshiva bacher who's not putting on a talis gadol. So what do? Could you make a bracha on tzitzits? You were up the whole night? Yesh deis bein hapoiskim. Over here we have a difference of opinion amongst the poiskim, and we'll get to that in a moment. And therefore, so if you're a married individual and you wear a talis gadol, you have an easy way out. You're going to make a bracha when you put on the talis gadol. So when you put on the talis gadol, you'll have in mind to also exempt with the same bracha your talis katan. But what does a bacher do? So the bacher in yeshiva, they go to a married person who's making a bracha on the talis gadol, and they ask him to be mitzi him. But what's the problem here? Well, the Indian bracha al talis katan, as far as making the bracha on the talis katan itself, I'm sorry, I'm repeating myself. Yesh deis ben hapoiskim, v'alkein yira lecham lifter so bracha shemavarach al talis gadol k'mavur lahel simul ches b'mishnah berurah sif katan mem beis. Now, what's behind this machlokes is very interesting. The problem is like this: we have a machlokes. We know that the pasuk says ureisem oisai. The pasuk says by tzitzis you should see them, and the Gemara darshans that ureisem oisai is prat lebeged laila. That comes to exclude a beged laila, and we say laila is not as man tzitzis. But the truth is, we have a very great machlokes rishonim over here. Sorry, let me just turn off my phone. We have a very great machlokes rishonim over here. The Rambam and the Rosh. What does it mean that Laila is not as man tzitzis? The Rambam holds that pshat is it's totally in the zman. The zman of Laila, the time of night, is not a zman of tzitzis. During the Laila, you have a ptur from tzitzis. It doesn't matter what kind of beged you're wearing. Even if you're wearing a beged shel yom, so you're wearing your regular talis katan. Your regular talis katan is zicher a beged shel yom. It's a daytime garment. But since you're wearing it at night, Laila is not as man of tzitzis. Well, according to the Rambam, if you stayed up the whole night, so what? The next morning you could make a new bracha on your talis katan, even though you were wearing it straight through the whole night. Why? Because during the night you had a ptur. Even though you were wearing your talis katan, but in the middle of the night you're exempt from the mitzvah of tzitzis. So it's true, you happen to have worn your talis katan the whole night, and you happen to have been awake the whole night, but during the time period of the night, you are exempt from the mitzvah of tzitzis. Now it's morning, now your chiyuv of tzitzis comes back, so now you can make a new bracha. That's according to the Rambam. However, the Rosh doesn't hold that way. The Rosh holds that the halacha of prat l'ksus laila goes on the beged. It's not that you're putter from tzitzits at night. No, the drasha is that a ksus laila, if you had a four-cornered set of pajamas, so a ksus laila is putter from tzitzits. If you had a four-cornered pajama top, even if you wear it during the day, you're putter from tzitzits. Oh, according to the Rosh, your talis katan, which is a beged yom, is not putter from tzitzits at night. So you stayed up the whole night learning Shavuos night, and you wore your tzitzits the whole night. You never had a ptur of tzitzits because your talis katan is a beged yom. So why are you making a new bracha now? How could you make a new bracha? You don't have a new chiyuv. This is just a continuation of your chiyuv from yesterday. So you can't make a new bracha. So that's what's behind the machlokes, whether or not you could make a bracha on your talis katan having stayed up the whole night. And that's why we tell a gadol, we tell an adult, a married adult who's wearing a talis gadol, we tell him, go ahead and pater your talis katan with the bracha on your talis gadol. A bacher, we tell him to go over to a married person and ask him to be mitzi him when he makes the bracha on the talis gadol. Continues the Mishnah Berurah. Ul'inyan berchas haTorah. How about berchas haTorah? Are you allowed to make a new berchas haTorah in the morning if you stayed up the whole night? So the Mishnah Berurah says here, Ayin le'el b'simin mem zayin b'Mishnah Berurah sif katan chav ches. And again, here we have a very similar problem. The problem is like this. There's a machlokes rishonim. What happens if somebody sleeps a shinas kva, a significant sleep during the day? Does he have to make a new bracha of berchas haTorah? Is that a hefsik in berchas haTorah or not? So according to those that hold that a shinas kva is a hefsik, That's why you make a new Birchas HaTorah every morning. The reason you make Birchas HaTorah again in the morning is because you slept a Shinas Kva at night. And that Shinas Kva was a hefsik in your chiyuv of Torah, of Limud HaTorah. So now in the morning you make a new bracha. But if you stayed up the whole night, you would never mafsik. If you were never mafsik, why are you making a new bracha? Then there are Rishonim that hold that no, a Shinas Kva is really not even a hefsik. The only reason you make a bracha, a new bracha of Birchas HaTorah every day, is because that was the Takanas Chazal of Birchas HaTorah. The Takana of Chazal, when Chazal were masakin that you should make Birchas HaTorah, they were masakin that you make Birchas HaTorah every day. So it doesn't matter if you stayed up the whole night. Even if you stayed up the whole night, you have to make a new Birchas HaTorah. So again, here we have this machlokes rishonim. If you stay up the whole night, do you make Birchas HaTorah or not? So the best thing is either have somebody be moitzi you in Birchas HaTorah, somebody who slept, or alternatively, you could have kavana when you say Avarabba before Kriya Shema. For those who daven nusach sfard Avas Olam, you could have kavana in Avarabba or in Avas Olam that bracha should be your Birchas HaTorah. Because what do we say in Avarabba? Lilmaid, Lalamed, Lishmar, Velasay, so Lekayim is called Divrei Salmud Torah Secha Ba'ava. So it's brought down in halacha. If somebody, let's say on a regular day, somebody has a suffix, he was half asleep when he started davening, and he has a suffix if he said Birchas HaTorah or not. So one of the eitzes is when you get up to Birchas Kriya Shema, have kavana in Avarabba or in Avas Olam that should be your Birchas HaTorah, and immediately after davening say some psukim and learn some Torah. So there should be no hefsik between the Birchas HaTorah and the Limud HaTorah. So you could do that here Shavuos morning as well. Continues the Mishnah Berurah. Uleinian Birchas Alakai Neshama or Birchas Hamav Rishena. How about the bracha of Alakai Neshama and the bracha of Hamav Rishena? We know that the bracha of Alakai Neshama, what's that bracha on? Al HaNeshama Shechazar to be. You're thanking the Rebbeinu Shalom that he returned your neshama to you when you woke up in the morning. But if you stayed up the whole night, how do you make a bracha of Alakai Neshama? The same thing in Birchas HaShachar, Hamav Rishena Me'eno Yisunuma Me'afapli. You're thanking the Rebbeinu Shalom for removing sleep. But you didn't sleep. So how do you make that bracha? So there are those poskim who say that you can't make the bracha of Alakai Neshama and the bracha of Hamav Rishena if you didn't sleep. On the other hand, there are those that say, sure you can. When you make the bracha of Alakai Neshama and the bracha of Hamav Rishena, you're not making a bracha to the Rebbeinu Shalom on the fact that you slept and he returned your neshama. You're not thanking the Rebbeinu Shalom that he removed sleep from your eyes. The bracha is on derech ha'olam. The bracha is on the way of the world. The way of the world is a person goes to sleep at night, he wakes up in the morning, the Rebbeinu Shalom renews his neshama, and the Rebbeinu Shalom removes sleep from his eyes. So even if I stayed up the whole night, it's still the derech ha'olam. So again, we have this doubt. And again, usually we ask somebody who slept to be moitzias. Continues the Mishnah Berurah near the end of Eis Katan Aleph. Nachain li zaher al pi Kabbalah. Al pi Kabbalah. Al pi Kabbalah. We have to remember that this is Kabbalah. This is Divrei Soid. Nachain li zaher al pi Kabbalah. Al pi Kabbalah, it is proper to take care, milashamish belel shavuos, not to have marital relations on Shavuos night. Im loy belel tefillah, if it's not the night that your wife is going to the mikveh, when there's a distinct mitzvah of having marital relations. Vayin masha kasavnu le'el b'siman reish bem b'Mishnah Berurah. The Chavetz Chaim points you to siman reish bem in the Mishnah Berurah, Sef Katan Zayin Bir halacha sham. And one thing I always mention when I learn this halacha is that people have to realize that, like the Chavetz Chaim says, this is Nachen li zaher al pi Kabbalah. This is not a halacha psuka. It's not an isur. And in other places, the Chavetz Chaim writes that somebody who is what's his lashon, ha'oichal, somebody who eats lispaya nafshay, to satisfy himself. What does that mean? It means a person who there are people who eat 100% l'shem shamayim. And then there are people who eat to satisfy their hunger. He says if you're a person who eats to satisfy your hunger, if you're not on the level of the Baal Nefesh, some people take the halacha too far, and because they're worried about this halacha, not to be mishamish bitasa b'leil shvuos, they come chas v'chalila to worse isurim. It's not kedai. If a person needs it, That's what his wife is there for. A married couple, his wife is there to satisfy his desires. Not that he should hide those desires and chas v'chalila come to something worse. Okay, we're going to stop over here. Mirz Hashem, we'll pick up tomorrow. I have to take a look at the Dirshu schedule. I'm not 100% sure if we're caught up or not. But Mirz Hashem, we'll pick up tomorrow. We will continue with Sif Aleph. Be well.